Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Daisy if we've never met before, but if you've been to my channel, welcome back. Today I wanted to do a quick talk, or just a talk or a lesson, whatever you want to call it, on tattoos, etiquette, and what you should do before getting a tattoo. So I am actually kind of obsessed with tattoos. I have more than 11 pieces tattooed on me. I go back with more of the traditional approach of tattooing with canvas that I have that pretty much can be hidden most of the time, which I do with clothes. I see tattoos more of like work for myself, but you know, it's always preference on what you want to do. I really like looking at tattoos. I think it's a beautiful way to display artwork that one enjoys. You know, if you really like art, it's a beautiful way that you can express yourself with the artworks of like others, like a collection. And I just think that's awesome, and I love my like body being like a walking art collection. So I actually started getting tattoos when I was 20. My first one was a rose. I was super awkward. I didn't know what was going on. I really didn't know how to like approach like the tattoo artist, and I didn't really know that there was actual tattoo etiquette that there was in the industry. So I was thinking, when I got my last tattoo right here, actually it's still healing, that it would be kind of cool to create a video where I can actually talk about tattoo etiquette, what to do for a tattoo, and how to treat a tattoo artist. I know sometimes people get really mad when tattoo artists actually talk about it for some reason, when they're just talking about their profession. So I thought it would be cool if I could do one just from things that I've learned of going into different artists, getting my tattoos done, and just trusting someone to put art on my body. Some tips or some areas that I do have tattoos are my sternum, under my breast. I do have one on my rib cage, and I have one on this arm, and my hips and my leg. So they're just some areas that I have tattoos, just so you know, kind of like what I know or my experiences with it. So starting off, I think it's really important to know kind of what you want to do for your first tattoo, or just for tattoos in general. I know a traditional way of getting tattoos is that artists would put their flash all over the walls. Flash is actually like paper, or like a paper they would get, that tattoo artists would get, and they would draw their art on it to display. So when like back in the days when sailors would come in after being on ship, they would come off and be like, I want that one off the wall, like from the artist. And like, you know, that was a really cool practice, because a lot of times they were just, it was like a very spontaneous thing, and like I love that about tattoos, that they can be super spontaneous. I know a lot of tattoo artists display their flash around their little like studio space. Some of them really don't. It's honestly just their personal preferences. Some of them on their Instagrams, they display their flash, and you can see from there, and you know, like DM them or inquire with them about getting that tattoo actually done. But yeah, that's like one of the ways to get it to just be spontaneous. But when it comes to actually making an appointment, I think it's important to look at an artist's work, check out their fresh and healed works, and look at the color if you want color, and look at their line work. I am very much in favor of black and gray. I think it will just show up really beautifully on my skin. I mean, I change skin colors a lot from summer to winter. I can get very pale to really tan in the summer, and it's just crazy. And I think black and gray is like the best for me. All my tattoos are black and gray. I do not have color other than black and gray on me. When I look for tattoo artists, I look at their line work, I look at their shading, I look if there's bleeding on the skin, bleeding through. Bleeding through is when you get tattooed, like, I think it's more obvious on whiter people. You see the line, but then you see like something under the skin going out under. So that's why it's really important to look at line work, or just how deep they go with the line work to see if it actually blurs out. And it's important to look at healed work so you can see how their tattoos actually look after. There has been some instances, or there are instances, and it can happen, where you get tattooed with color and the color completely washes out once it's healed. Like, it's not even there. So that's important to know. But then also it depends on the type of tattoo you're getting. Like, I know with traditional tattoos, they heavily saturate the color on these tattoos because that's just the way of like practice doing it. And so it could be super vibrant, I mean, for many years down the road, and also for touch-ups it's just easier. And if you know what you want in a specific like style, look for an artist that can work with that style. You don't go to a traditional tattoo artist that loves doing traditional, has perfected the craft of traditional tattooing, and you go, hey, I want watercolor. They might not do the best job with watercolor of what you expect if you looked at a reference photo from a artist that has perfected watercolor. If you get what I mean. It's like, you don't get a seamstress to be your florist, if you get what I mean. Like, it's art, but it's a different type of art. And if they're not comfortable doing that, it may not be the best, and it would be better to just look into a different artist that actually knows how to do that better, has perfected the craft, and has really paid a lot of like attention and detail on what needs to go into that type of tattoo. And then from there, you want to like really respect their style when it comes to that. You have to understand that it takes a while for tattoo artists to like create their style. It's kind of I believe it's disrespectful if you go to them and you go, okay, I want this, but I want it exactly how it is in this picture, instead of letting them do it in their style. I think the best way to get a really slapping good tattoo is to walk into a tattoo shop when you know the artist style, you really appreciate this art, and you say, I want these type of things, but I want it in your style. That is how you let a tattooer flourish. And that is how you let them do a great spanking job on that tattoo that's going to be on your body forever. So it's really important when you make it a tattoo appointment, is that you communicate in the way that the tattoo artist prefers. Let's say you find them on Instagram or Yelp or whatever, and it says DM me, or it says email me, I'll get back to you so, or call the shop and come in for a consultation. You, as a person, as a canvas, have the responsibility to communicate with them in the way that they prefer. If you do not, you're probably not going to get an appointment. And if you get mad that they don't, pay attention to what they're telling you, because if you can't follow these simple directions, maybe you shouldn't get a tattoo. And that's just my opinion. So yeah, inquire with them in the way they prefer, and make sure you include in your message a greeting. Don't just be like, hey, how much does this cost? Or how much does this cost? Be like, hey, like, what's up? I wanted to ask you or inquire with you about a tattoo of blah, 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 blah. And make sure you include the size of it, like inches or whatever. Location, specific location. If you can draw, like if you can get a Google image, screenshot it, and then circle the area where you want it tattooed, I feel like that's a really good way to show where you want to do it. Which one, left or right, whatever. Color. And then include reference pieces. And then say, I have these days available. And give them a couple of days and a couple of times. And I would say, if you're giving them days, make sure those days are completely clear. Because when you go in for a tattoo appointment, you really don't want to have a time restriction on them. Because one, that sucks, and two, you don't really allow them to have a comfortable amount of time that they feel in order to finish a tattoo, because you never know how long it's going to take. So depending on the tattoo, you may need to wear specific clothes and bring your own snacks. And this is more for the day of. It's really important to communicate with your tattoo artist, depending where your tattoo is going to be, how big, if you need to wear specific clothes, if something that will make you feel comfortable in the shop, or if they have their own studio like within your room, what would be like better for that. And then just so you don't like pass out or anything, ask if you can bring snacks depending how long the tattoo is. Yes, tattoos are gonna hurt no matter where you put them, so be prepared for that. I know when I got my sternum, it lasted more than 3 hours, and I basically had to be half naked in the shop with my top off. But I communicated with my tattoo artist. My tattoo artist said, what kind of like clothes should I wear? Should I wear like pasties? And he said like, oh, people usually wear pasties. Get something that sticks on well, not something that's just gonna flop off, or else your nipples are gonna be out. And that's really important communication. Let's say you get like a tattoo on your thigh, you don't just show up with jeans and then your just thong is out the whole time. Unless you're comfortable with that, like communicate with your tattoo artist what they think is best. Let's say you're doing a back piece, like don't wear a super weird restrictive top, if you get what I mean. Like you're obviously gonna have to take it off, so wear something comfortable. So yeah, so bring your water and snacks so you do not pass out. That's the last thing you want. And then the day of your actual appointment, some things to remember is to come in clean, like actually smell good, like a fresh shower. Don't like really come afterward, because that's kind of stinky, especially if your job is stinky. Bring your ID. It doesn't matter how old you are. Bring your ID. Bring cash. A lot of shops prefer cash, especially when you ask for an estimate. I always bring $100 to $200 cash over the estimate, and make sure you bring cash to tip your tattoo artist. I think it is respectful to tip 20% or more for a tattoo artist, because they are there, their backs probably hurt, they're probably getting arthritis from holding the tattoo gun. So tip them well, like how you should tip your nail artist and your eyelash artist. Another thing is to do not arrive late. It's disrespectful to the tattoo artist that you arrive late, because you're taking up their time if they have other tattoos after you, and they're gonna give you a 3-hour tattoo instead of a 4-hour tattoo, and you're gonna have to accept that because other people have asked for their time. So you need to be considerate of their time. Also, don't show up too early. Show up like right on time. It's kind of better for them in my experience. And do not restrict your time when you're there. They don't know if it's going to take 4, 5 hours, 6 hours. You never know. Typically, their estimate, they stick to it. So do not restrict your time that you're there. It makes it really hard for them. And if you want your tattoo to come out really, really good, do not restrict your time. But most of all, have fun and enjoy your time being tattooed. I think it is the most relaxing thing on this planet. I always get so excited after. I always get so nervous before, even though I've gotten so many tattoos and in some of like the hardest places. But I love tattoos. The experience is always amazing. It's always great to find basically a new friend that you trust enough to put some ink on your body. And have fun. Enjoy the art. Get some beautiful pieces of work on you and do whatever you want, because it's your life and your body.